We are back, and now we're gonna play our next game, which is Dagon, which is apparently a based off of Lovecraftian type stuff. Hello. Apparently you can play in VR mode, but I don't have a VR set, so we can just use standard mode. And it's a free game. I don't know how long it'll take to finish. Let me see. Apparently it's about an hour. A brand new stream. Yeah. How you doing? I'm doing good. Alright, let me open the game. Good morning. Hello, Paladin Stam. Welcome. Also, hello, TA. Welcome. We just finished the bubble game. A jelly game. Now we're doing another game. The next game. Was it fun? It was very chaotic. There was a lot of poop. Alright, let me just adjust my settings real quick. Motion blur. Do I want motion blur? I don't know if I want motion blur. The poop king or something. Oh my god!
I became a member for 11 months.
11 months!
Hope everyone is doing well today. More than a year since I met y'all. Almost a year since I decided to join one of my very first YT membership.
YT membership!
Glad to have done so. Hope everyone is doing well today.
Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you for being part of the community. You always come in and tell everybody hi. Every single person. Hope everybody doing well today. Doing goodity gumdrops. Goodity gumdrops. 11 months. Yippee! Alright, I need to put in the game. I really appreciate it, TA. And for the long message. Alright, hold on. Okay. In the game! Oh. In the game! This one's not a demo, this one's like free game. It might be spooky. I don't know because it's Lovecraftian. Nice. Yeah, nice. Hi everybody. Yeah, hi everybody. Alright, let me start the game. What's a trivia? Oh, this is like what I find, I guess. Alright, start the game. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. I actually have never read H.P. Lovecraft work. I do have a H.P. Lovecraft storybook, but I have not read it.
Mal was taken, became a member for 20
Wow!
months. 20 months, wow. Thank you for existing, Stinky.
20 months? 20 stinky months. Thank you Mal for for being member for 20 months. Is everyone gonna start doing the member milestones? It is really easy to forget that there's like the member milestone thing, like free message that you could use every month. Okay, wait. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management. Movement is limited to progressing through locations. Okay.
I am writing
Whoa.
this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Bugs became a member for 20 months.
20 months as well?
It's really been 20 months already. That's kinda crazy, but I've always been happy to be here.
Yeah, 20 months! Yippee! Everyone use a gift member. I mean the member. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for supporting and being around. And I can only like move this much. Hold on, I want to adjust my mouse sensitivity. Oh, that's better. I think I already did my man, but I feel like I'm missing everybody use man. Okay, so he can talk. During the game, you encounter interactive elements. Some of them allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. Oh! I can't look over there. Can I look on the floor? Oh. Oh, Lovecraft status. There's a trivia. As to letters, my case is peculiar. I write such things exactly as easily and as rapidly as I would utter the same topics in conversation. Indeed, epistolary expression is with me largely replacing conversation. As my condition of nervous prostration becomes more and more acute, I cannot bear to talk much now, and am becoming as silent as the spectator himself. My loquacity extends itself on paper. H.P. Lovecraft to Reinhard Kleiner, December 23rd, 1917. Throughout his life, Lovecraft penned around 100,000 letters to his friends and fans. Well, I guess they didn't have email, out of which about 10% survived to this day, but with his tendency to endless correspondence was a relatively late growth. In youth, I scarcely did any letter writing. Thanking anybody for a present was so much of an ordeal that I would rather have written a 250-line pastoral or a 20-page treatise on the rings of Saturn. He really didn't like mundane letter writing. Sea River? Lovecraft will often skip meals to afford postage. Collections of his correspondence have been published in various books and letters. Selected letters can be found online. Some readers consider them his most important legacy. He didn't eat! You can read trivia or go back to it later. Alright. I'll show the trivia. And look at anything else. I know that's the progress. Okay, I don't think there's anything. I can't go there, so let's see.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Oh, I hope you're tall enough, like high enough, or else it's going to be a very painful death.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
Are you a victim of circumstance because you're taking drugs?
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
You got PTSD. Oh. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1940. Oh no! Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1854. How did they administer it before? Frederick Serturner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. Dreams? At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. We're getting history. That's kind of cool. What else can I look at? This is all I can look at.
Oh, I'm outside. Most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which which I was supercargo, fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Look at that shit. It's the Matrix because it's Morpheus. Touch. It's a warship.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Wait, the war?
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Oh, did you get captured, but they kept your ship? Is that what you mean? That's the progress. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and master of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans. In order to emphasize their brutality, however, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on 27 July 1900 before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is fortified. Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under the King Attila made a name for themselves. One that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. There's a lot of reading. You could skip it, but I don't know. I'll just read it. This is all new to me. I don't know history. What's that voice? It's my Mickey Mouse voice. Alright. Plus you can like collect it and then you check it later.
Indeed was the discipline of our captors that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
He escaped. No, it is skippable. It's just that I'm choosing to read it to give more context. Because I don't know these things. It is a lot of this is, well, it seems a bit historical, but it is Lovecraftian, so I guess it's just for the timeline. Can I look at anything? I guess it's the only thing I can look at. You don't know history? No, Malaysia doesn't teach world history.
And free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Mostly Southeast Asian history. When I finish, if I need,
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
I guess it's better than being a prisoner, dying alone on the ocean.
Of the longitude,
with no food or water.
And no island or coastline was in sight.
We learned by a tiny bit. Yeah, but not a lot. I feel like you can't really say you learn anything if it just need a bit. Look at the moon. Oh, that's the progress. Need more things. Okay, I didn't look at the moon.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun.
I like this idea. It's quite chill.
Passing ship, or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
I'm surprised he still was. I guess he does have some provisions. He wouldn't have like left without provisions. Okay. Oh, it didn't even give me the icon then. The Return to Short Stories. Dagon was written in July 1970, published in 1998 by the Briar and amateur magazine focused on the supernatural. The story is the first of his stories to introduce an element from the Cthulhu mythos. Dagon himself, a pagan god worshipping Dagon, later appears in the shadow over Innsbruck. Is this technically a spoiler now? Because it's about Dagon. One of Lovecraft's most popular works. 1970, on the year where he wrote The Tomb, a story about Jervis Dudley, a daydreamer who discovers a mysterious mausoleum in the woods by his house, becomes obsessed with these two works. Mark Lovecraft's return to short story writing after he burned most of his attempt at the genre 9 years prior and decided to concentrate on poetry. Lovecraft stated that it was his friend, William Paul Cook, a literary publisher and critic, who convinced him to start writing weird fiction again. You know you write weird stories? You should do that. You're so good at writing weird stories because you're a weird person. That's kind of funny. I don't think you meant it that way.
But neither ship nor land
Hello there.
appeared, and I began to despair
multiple
in my
games.
solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
That doesn't look good. Yo, what a... Is there any... Okay. Lore? Can I find any lore? I don't think so. I think I just have to look at the squid.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire,
What's
which
black?
extended
Is that like
about me in monotonous
slime?
undulations as far as I could see,
Man, I can't write like that.
and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
It is grounded over there.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
Well, perhaps he was just having dehydration hallucinations.
For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
I don't think this is probably a little bit more specific and sinister.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish
Stinky.
and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Man, I can't be poetic like that. Oh look, more tentacles.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
I wonder the way he's describing it versus the what we're seeing right now. It feels like the writing, at least when he's saying it, it feels like everything around him is dead and rotting and silent, but you can clearly see like the writhing tentacles here. I wonder which one would have been as strong. I guess it's a game, so you gotta make things move a little for more imagery.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Unless they do like a big slab of flesh on the ground and some parts are throbbing.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Okay. Oh, the sky is black. Oh, it is black. I thought it meant the sun is black. Look at it. Look at that. Look, that's the progress. Oh, yeah, look at it.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
Aliens.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
I guess it's surprisingly logical. Hello, John Arch. Welcome.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
So basically he thinks that there's an earthquake and then it flipped the ground. So this is the bottom of the ocean.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
The stinky... Oh, hey, fish! But that's progress. Is that an ammonite? No, it's a horseshoe crab. Oh, that's lore. The mystery of volcanic islands. Volcanic eruptions sometimes result in the creation of islands. Most of them are transient and erode after some time, but some prove permanent. The floating pumice, porous rock created when superheated, pressurized rock ejected from a volcano, can move across long distances and transport particles and macroalgae that cling to it. In 2001, rafts of pumice created during the eruption of a volcano near Tonga, Polynesia, eventually reached Australia. That's kind of neat. And volcanoes make good fertile soil, not fertilized soil.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in
Oh, like that, yeah.
which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
The heavens.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little.
Oh my god, the whole day passed.
I made for myself a pack containing food and water. Preparatory.
You still had food and water after this point.
Sea and possible rescue.
So it's just gonna walk across the stinky land, the stinky water.
On the third morning, I found the soil.
A third morning?
Upon with ease.
So you've just been in the stinky for 2 days.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
I mean, at this point, you'd probably be used to the smell, right? Cause you can get... Cause, don't you like, if you smell something too long, you can't smell it anymore? Maybe 2 days is not enough. Cause like, kind of like chewing gum, except that one in your mouth. Cause like when you put chewing gum in your mouth and then you chew it for a while, then it loses flavor. Actually, it's because the flavor is still there or something. I don't know. You usually become desensitized. Yeah. I wonder how long it takes to sensitize.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
But maybe it's to emphasize how strong the stinky is. Try to see if I can interact with anything. Don't seem like it. What the heck? It's a whale! This poor old whale. Where?
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
I like how they put a lot of different things you can see, because earlier there was like tentacles, and now I mean these are also kind of tentacle like, but we had the whale and all that. So they're switching it up. Oh. The horrors of the ocean. The creator of the Cthulhu mythos in the fictional underwater city of 𝒍�𝒏𝒌 was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many peculiar organisms. The deepest drilling fish we have discovered so far, the Mariana snailfish, can live about 8,000 meters, more than 26,000 feet below the ocean surface in never-ending darkness and at hellishly crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of these sea creatures, such as the anglerfish, the fangtooth, and the viper fish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's hard not to find some irony in this. Deep ocean fish freaky. Oh.
By the fourth evening, I attained of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
I gotta scale a mountain.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
Very air conditioning.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
At least you wouldn't be warm.
I know
in the
not why
daytime.
my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
You couldn't eat anymore.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again.
You got bad nightmares.
And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
Why is it bad to travel in the daytime?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
I mean, that's true, but you wouldn't be able to see. Oh, but I guess you said the moon was big.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Contrary to popular opinion, Lovecraft was not an ever-frowning, eccentric, grumpy loner. He considered himself to be a person who appreciated humor. Moreover, he would often meet with friends in his apartment or at various cafes in Brooklyn and Manhattan. At times, his social life was so intensive, his work would suffer for months. There was a point where he finally decided he needed to put an end to daily meetings and loitering in New York cafeterias and resorted to hiding at home and reading with the main room light turned off, pretending he wasn't there whenever a friend knocked on his door. He also had another method of deterring his guests, which involved reading them in a bathrobe with an unmade bed visible in the background and piles of paper scattered across the floor. So basically at first he was very popular, and then he's like, you know what, I should focus on my job. There's a biography of H.P. Lovecraft. No, it's based off a H.P. Lovecraft story, but there are little trivia you can find about H.P. Lovecraft, and also like the setting of the stuff that you can or like ocean stuff.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me.
Okay.
But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
There's just nothing there.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
Darkness!
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Okay. So I can descend.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
That seems safe.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Can I look at anything? Okay.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deep, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
It's a glowing. Can I look at anything else? No.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
Okay.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
There are no contours on that.
A closer scrutiny
It's
filled
square.
me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
He's just a soldier, a Navy soldier. But he's like, I'm not a scientist, this is freaky. Hey, water.
Now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
What the hell?
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
Okay.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
That's not a lot of brain rot.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen.
That's just symbols of fish.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes,
it does say
octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Okay.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Cthulhu. Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings and the mountains of madness, Dagon City, journalism character notes, the Shadow of Time, the Haunted of Dark, islands emerging from the ocean, the Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies, 𝒍𝒂𝒕 and the Whisper of Darkness. It's also considered the origin of popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also include a man in a manor similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Alright. Thank you, Gabe.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a Doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
People!
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
Mermaids!
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Whoa.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
Yeah, they're totally fake news.
Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
So you're saying this is before the caveman? This seems more elaborate than what the caveman could do.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into
I
a
guess
past
dinosaurs
beyond the
are cool.
conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Oh, the water rippling. That's not good.
With only a slight churning to mark its rise.
That's not slide.
The thing slid into view above the dark waters.
That's not slide at all. Oh my god!
Slight and loathsome, it darted like
Oh not good.
Nightmares to the monolith,
Oh, he's big.
about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain
Don't look at it.
sounds. I think I went mad then.
Probably you got bad.
Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember.
He just ran.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
He was doing a karaoke. How did he get back to civilization?
I
Was it?
have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Oh wait, I should check something real quick. Do I have the thing on? No, I do have it on. Wait.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in the San Francisco hospital,
San Francisco?
brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
I mean, you were delirious.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing, nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
He was pretty smart. You didn't tell them that you saw something crazy. The journalist, Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism in 1915. He started publishing his own journal called The Conservative, which included political and social commentary, poetry, some stories, and literary criticism written by him and other authors. However, was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticism to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again for the first time since his teenage years. Dagon was published in 1992. It's one of the short stories written during that period. It is an example excerpt from The Conservative. The master of horror fiction explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. While any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace, is more than the conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations will undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild country of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare until the basic impulses of human animals shall have miraculously changed. I guess that's kind of. I guess that's true. Human crazy. In defense of Dagon, in 1921, Lovecraft released a series of 3 essays, The Defense Reopens, The Defense Remains Open, and The Final Words, later published as a collection titled In Defense of Dagon, in which he rebuked a series of criticisms directed at his works. Some notable quotes: I pay what I dream and will let the public settle the rest among themselves. Mr. Monday asked the raison d'etre of Dagon, I will give it purely and simple to reproduce a boot. Its object is the simplest in all out portrayal of the physical horrors of war, no matter how extreme and unprecedented, how they have a bearing on the entirely different realm of supernatural terror. Ghosts are still ghosts. The mind can get more thrills from unrealities than from realities. In the essays, Lovecraft touches upon the topics of atheism, materialism, and the quest for truth and the love of science. Okay. Here I come, San Francisco. We're going to San Francisco. There's another one. I guess there wasn't a lot of lore in the middle of the game. Lovecraft considered himself an atheist and absolute materialist, which he attributed partly to his early childhood interest in astronomy and science in general. His own words: I am indeed an absolute materialist, so as far as actual belief goes, with knowledge, we're not assured of credence in any form of supernaturalism, religion, spiritualism, transcendentalism, metempsychosis, or immortality. All I say is that I think it is damned unlikely that anything like a central cosmic will, spirit world, or an eternal survival personality exists. They are most preposterous and unjustified of all the guesses which can be made about the universe, and I am not enough of a hairspray to pretend I don't regard them as errant and negligible moonshine. In theory, I am an agnostic, but pending the appearance of radical evidence, I must be classed practically and provisionally as an atheist. Sources. Okay. Everyone got beliefs. I think that's all the lore in this room. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, door open. That doesn't good do. Blah blah blah.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist.
Okay.
And amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Fish god? Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god for tilling crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their world. Kozores also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He was He's often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of its name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft wrote Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep waters. A humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Yeah, okay. Now I need to look for more lore. The lore's pretty interesting. Nothing else anymore. That's to continue. Yeah, nothing else anymore. Stenethal.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional.
I mean, most people are hope. I assume most people during that time is hopelessly conventional. I mean, Lovecraft's attempt to find a job in 1925 were influenced by advice he received from friends. Among others, he started freelancing for a marketing magazine where he would write announcements and commercials. Feel free to judge his copywriting skills for yourself. From an ad from Curtis Woodwork. Curtis Woodwork embraces both the usual structural units and the cleverest contrivances of built-in or permanent furniture such as bookcases, dressers, buffets, and cupboards. Every model is conceived and created with the purest art, rapid scholarship, and mellowest craftsmanship, which energetic enterprise can command and make to conform rigidly to the architecture of each particular type of home. The cost, considering the quality, is amazingly low, and the trade on the individual pieces prevents any substitution by careless contractors. He had a job. August 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌 and Cthulhu Mythos. August 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌 was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of the most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌 was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌 after the author left the mortal plane. Editors. Am I right? Right. Chair. I can go a whole circle. He's not gonna say anything. Or the 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌 scientist is a widely accepted term. By the time Dagon was published, it was subject to wide debate. After the author used it in his story, critics pointed out that man of science was a more appropriate term to employ. He admitted in the defense of Dagon that if Dagon wanted to be reprinted, he would indeed use the phrase. He suggested the scientist was coined as an analog to an artist, to be used when referring to those studying different branches of science. Yet in 19th and early 20th century, scientific researchers in Great Britain and the United States were of the opinion that man of science, resembling the term man of letters, was the only proper choice, among other things, but gender-specific, indicating that science was an endeavor to be pursued only by one sex. The term scientist became more accepted only after World War II, and man of science started fading into obscurity as an old-fashioned synonym. Hello, Coon, and welcome. Okay, what do we click to progress? Oh. Yeah. Oh, back here!
Night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
The thing?
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease. and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Yeah, don't take drugs.
So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
No, this is basically like a game reading of what, like a recreation of a H.P. Lovecraft story. And then there's a lot of lore around. That's what I was reading. Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco, even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult. In his correspondence with his friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to 𝒍�𝒏𝒌, dated on 13 February 1938. As for the matter of drinking, I've never tasted intoxicating liquor, never intend to, having a strong aesthetic disgust, and anything with blunt or coarseness of delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking inside of my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition, the prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as of any other. You don't like no alcohol. Never.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm, a mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war.
No, it's okay. It's just the lore. This is like, it's not like, that's just the extra info.
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply.
Is it gonna be the thing
again? The deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols, carving their own detestable faces on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
You got thalassophobia bad.
And the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
That's a lot of fear. And New York City. New York City.
The end is near.
So good, that doesn't sound good. Oh. I'm pressing it.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Oh, door. The door. Oh, the door is there. Hold on, let me just look for lore. I think there's lore.
It shall not find me.
Oh! Hello?
God, that hand.
That's not a human hand. Hello?
The window.
Oh. Alright, bye-bye now. He fell out the window like what he wanted to. Okay, so I guess the idea is that he was stranded in the ocean for many days, and then he saw some things he wasn't supposed to, and then he came back and he kept getting PTSD, and then he fell out the window. We hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our Liverpool cosmic horror. Take a moment to break Dagon and check out other games and DLCs. Oh! I mean, that was a fun little short experience. This is free, by the way. So it's like a nice little storytelling with like extra facts. I kind of like that you get all the lore. What the heck?
Scary stories have been
What's this?
accompanying men for centuries. They have many faces and forms. But what is their purpose? Why do we enjoy being afraid so much?
I don't know, it's fun.
During our therapy, I'll try to...
During our therapy. Dr. Abortion's Nocturnes will guide you to all the colors. That looks cool! Oh. You unlock the trivia, but you won't get associated achievements. Oh, I missed 1, 2, 3. I missed 4 trivia. I found most of the trivia. Yeah, I think there are other short stories if you want to like see the other short stories. That's kind of fun. Alright. That was Dagon. But we got more game. We got more, don't worry. Don't worry, we have more in store. Yeah, 2 more demos. 2 more demos. 2 more demos. The next one gonna be more chill. The next one is gonna be more chill indeed. Let me just set it up. More! Yeah, but the Dewey. Let me do the raid real quick. I'll be right back.